our public hearing. Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is the first of two public hearings to reinstate and extend the Park Place Development Agreement. All of the analysis is before you, Commissioners. You also had an item on this issue at your last meeting. Staff is recommending your approval, and we have no speakers on this item.
No speakers?
Okay. Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve.
No. Point of information. We need to wait for Commissioner Dozier to get to the dais so that you have a quorum.
Commissioner Minor and Cummins, are you all on?
You speak and
Commissioner Minor's on too.
Carolyn Cummins.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chair.
The virtual attendees do not count for quorum purposes. That's why we needed 4 in chambers.
Very good. Commissioners, we have a motion for the adoption of option 1, which is recommendation that we proceed to a second public hearing on item 23. What's the pleasure of the board? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Aye.
It passes unanimously with Vice Chair out of chamber. Okay. Are there any speakers to be heard?
There are no speakers. That item concludes your items on the agenda tonight, sir, and there are no speakers from citizens.
Very, very good. Commissioners, I'm hopeful that we can do this in record pace and we can get out of here by 6:05. And Commissioner Dozier, is up to you if we get out at 6:05. Commissioner Minor, you have any comments in 30 seconds or less?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just really quickly, I highly recommend, if you haven't done the Honor Flight Tallahassee before, I highly recommend signing up as a Guardian. You can still register for the April 23rd date. I went in 2019, and on the plane flight to DC, I spoke with a Vietnam vet who I won't mention his name to protect his privacy, but he told me on the plane that when he finished his tour of duty in Vietnam and returned to the United States, there was no one at the airport to greet him, so no recognition for his service. So we go to DC after a long day of seeing the monuments. We fly back to Tallahassee, and I watch him exit the plane and walk down this long procession of people who had arrived at the hangar to greet him and the other Honor Flight veterans. So huge fanfare, all kinds of people congratulating him, thanking him for his service. And I saw the man's face, and you can't describe how much gratitude he felt to finally, after 50 years, getting the recognition that he deserved in service of his country. So I will never forget that. So if you highly recommend being on the Honor Flight, if you can register for it and be a Guardian to help our veterans during that trip, you won't ever forget it. If you can't go on the trip, come back at the hangar for Flight Line on April 23rd. I think it's going to be 9:40 p.m. when the flight comes back, and be part of that procession and greet veterans as they come back from that day. With that, just want to point that out. Also want to thank the Commission and the Chairman for the productive strategic planning session yesterday. I thought that was really beneficial for us for mapping out the next 5 years. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm concluding my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To you and County Administrator and the County Attorney, I want to thank you for a great meeting. Thank the County Administrator and his staff and attorneys for just all the agenda information and background information that is provided, and it's certainly helpful to me. I also just want to point out that I know we've seen the report from the Children's Services Council, and just happy to just report that the money that the county agreed to give to the Children's Services Council, the seed money, has been repaid in full. So we thank the county for that generosity, Mr. Chair. Just one last thing. I'd like to ask the body to approve a proclamation for the Leon County Charmettes Incorporated. Dr. Melinda Jackson James is the president. And the reason it's significant is because this year they celebrated their 50th debutante presentation, 50 years of debutante presentations. And over this period, they have given over $500,000 to young ladies who have gone on to college, and they also support Howard University's research center as well. So I believe those are, over the years, those are feats, especially in the 50th year, that merits recognition. And they actually held their debutante presentations this year and last year in the midst of the coronavirus.
Okay, thank you. We hear that motion. Commissioner Cummings, I hear a second from Commissioner Minor. All in favor of the request for proclamation for Charmette, please say aye.
Aye.
It opposes, it passes unanimously. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Very, very good. Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to give, sorry, I'm too loud. I just want to give a special recognition to a young lady named Caroline Couch, who, with her committee of young middle schoolers from around our county, all the different middle schools more or less were represented.
Broadmoor Pond.
What's that?
Broadmoor Pond, right?
Yes, that's right. Broadmoor Pond on Saturday, a frigid Saturday morning. There was a bunch of people out there to plant 200 trees on Arbor Day. This was organized by Caroline, an 8th grader at McClay. I want to specifically point out not just Caroline, but Amanda Heidecker, with our Parks and Rec director, did a really incredible job organizing this event with these middle schoolers, teaching them the value of civic service. And Amanda's really a rock star and made this thing go off without a hitch, and it was really impressive and awesome to see. So I wanted to give a shout out to Caroline, and also wanted to give Michelle Personette, the outgoing director of the Challenger Learning Center, a shout out because she's been really phenomenal to work with and has really committed herself to that institution. And so she's moving on, and that's a great loss, but a great addition, to the community. She'll be doing something awesome somewhere else, I'm sure. And then lastly, I was able to go get my booster vaccination, my wife as well, and my son Carter got his second shot at the FAMU testing site and vaccination site, which just every time we go impresses me so much. It's just such a well-run operation. And there's a reason that they were the Tallahassee Democrats Person of the Year. I mean, they are so kind and so welcoming and so helpful. So that's all for me, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Happy New Year, everyone. Great meeting. Good to see you all. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I have nothing. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things. I'll try to go quickly here. Proclamation request, if you please, to be presented at the February 8th meeting, recognizing February as American Heart Month in Leon County, and the proclamation will be received by members of the American Heart Association here in Chambers.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
That'd be my motion.
All right. There's a motion by Commissioner Dozier. Is there a second for? All right. All in favor, say aye. Unanimously, it passes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Secondly, this year I have the honor, rather, of representing this board on the Appalachia Regional Planning Council and serving as chair. I am also chair of the Florida Regional Planning Council Association, and we held our annual meeting 2 weeks ago. The Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, which Commissioner Doug Smith is a member, he's also participated for a long time with Florida Association of Counties. They've introduced a resolution, and I will only read one of the clauses. For those of you who've been with FAC for many years, and particularly our vice chair, this came up at FAC during your year as president. It is a resolution expressing support for statutory changes that will lead to the coordination and strategic investment of state funds for water resources using a structure modeled on the Florida Transportation Commission. The idea is to have something like our CRTPA funding, a process to really do long-term planning for water infrastructure. And a number of the planning councils around the state and other counties will be considering this resolution. So I would like to make a motion to bring back an agenda item and provide the document for county administrator so we can discuss this at the next meeting. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
You heard the motion and the second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously.
We're going fast, Mr. Chair, but, you're still with
You know,
us.
gravity is pulling my arm.
It's only because you had nothing on your list.
Gravity is about to.
Okay, Commissioner Welch got that. All right, so those were two. Third, anytime our Leon County staff is asked to host an event, they knock it out of the park. Even when
That's
the
what we do.
attendance might not be as much as we anticipated. So last week, Florida Association of Counties, we hosted Innovation Day, and the program was exceptional, starting at Cascades Park through Innovation Park, Appalachia Regional. All of the staff that participated, the presentations, folks at Innovation Park was great. Unfortunately, COVID and a lot of testimony that was required on preemption bills at the legislature decreased our numbers. So, as County Administrator, I just wanted to use this moment. Despite the numbers, it was still very impactful, and truly appreciate the staff working on that day. I hope we get to do it again, because people really did get a lot out of it. So, the last thing, Mr. Chair.
Because gravity's got my arm.
Well, actually, I will say, Mr. Vice Chair, you had mentioned an agenda item at yesterday's retreat, which you didn't bring up in your comments. I thought you might have, about increased youth participation, a tempo type program. Is that something you wanted to come back to at a later date? Or did you want to ask for an agenda item? I didn't want to steal your thunder, sir, because you were the one who introduced the idea.
Yeah, go ahead and ask for it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Mr. County Administrator, did you get enough direction from yesterday's retreat from the Vice Chair's comments about exploring a tempo-like program and increasing youth participation? That was kind of bouncing off some of my questions about the citizen ideas and how we may generate more participation from the youth.
I think so. Give us a crack at it. We'll take it back and we'll highlight it for the ratification item just to see if we need some additional, but I think we got it captured.
Okay. If we have to take another step and look at the ratification item before bringing back the agenda item, I'm sure the Vice Chair wouldn't mind. So why don't I just not make a motion at this time, let you look at the ratification, and we'll go from there? Thank you. Okay, perfect. So my last thing, Mr. Chair, because that was the Vice Chair's last thing, Design Works.
Did you catch that?
It was. I was just reminding him yesterday. That's
Did
all
you
right.
catch what she did?
Design Works. Artie White mentioned it yesterday. There were some good numbers in our agenda item. This is a really good department. I let people know about it various times, but I consistently hear from the small business folks or individuals that they have no idea Design Works is out there. So I'd like to ask for an agenda item giving us an informational update. How many people are using Design Works? What's the scope? Mr. County Administrator, do you need anything more than that basic description? Thank you, sir. Just to allow us to better understand what's happening and perhaps talk about how we can increase participation in that great resource.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a vote, Mr. Chair. It's back to you.
Okay, yes. All in favor, please say aye. All right, pass unanimously.
And that is really it, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Cummings?
Mr. Chair. Yes, sir. I have one item that I omitted. I apologize. I'd like to ask the board's approval for a proclamation for National Women's History Month, which we know is going to be in March. But if we can unanimously agree on a proclamation in that regard, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right, you have a motion, second. What is this board's pleasure? You favor women's proclamation, please say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Commissioner
Thank you,
Warner.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, too. Commissioner Minor, hanging in there, distancing, Commissioner Cummings for hanging in there and distancing, and to commissioners who are present, to our beautiful staff, their hard work. Carrie Post, we see you hanging in there. We love you guys. We want to know that this board loves our staff. Our board loves our county. Our board, we sacrifice and we give our best to you because you give your best. You certainly give your best to us. We respect that. We thank you. Until we meet again. Good night.